Hello, and welcome to the Say Yes Movement podcast, where we help you with your personal and professional growth, helping you say yes to all the scary stuff. Hey, Gunjan, how are you this morning?
Hey John, good morning. Good morning. How are you doing?
I am fantastic, feeling great, feeling energized, feeling pumped up. And it's Friday. So, it's
Yeah,
Friday is one of my favorite days of the week, not because it's the weekend, right?
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
being back when I worked in corporate, everybody's like, oh, it's Friday, the weekend. I'm like, no, it's not that reason. Friday is Celebration Fridays. And I'm so excited that I get to celebrate that with you this week, my friend.
Glad you mentioned that, John. We don't want to put that mindset in people that
Yeah.
Friday is the only day to celebrate because we are heading to the weekend. We want to have a mindset where every day is a Friday and you live with that attitude, right? So when you
Yeah.
wake up in the Monday, when you wake up on Monday morning, you shouldn't be feeling like, oh my God, it's Monday. It should
Yeah.
be this feeling of Friday celebration every single day of the week.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Even Saturday, Sunday, why not? Like, hey, I love Sundays. I love Sundays. I'll tell you why. Sundays are usually my bike riding days. So it's the days I get to go out, I get to be on the road. Not so much over the last little while because it's been a little bit colder, but I am starting to do some indoor training. But I love Sundays because I get to do my like 2 hour, my long rides, right? So it's a lot of fun. So since it is Celebration Friday, Gunjan, what are you celebrating this week?
Hmm. I'm celebrating my wife's birthday. It happens to be my wife's birthday today, Shweta's
Nice.
birthday, and I'm celebrating that. We have a little surprise planned for her. Now it's no longer a surprise. Disclosed in the morning. I booked something at Niagara Falls, and we'll be heading out. We'll pick up kids from early from school around 11:30, and head out to Niagara. Stay there for a night, have fun in the evening, and back.
Nice.
Yeah, it's that's what I'm doing this weekend.
Yeah, I know. I love it. Listen, it's a great plan. And yes, if she's watching the show, she'll know what the surprise is. If she's not watching the show, she can find out afterwards what the surprise is going to be. But no, that's fantastic. I'm sure your kids are going to love being pulled out of school at 11 a.m. on a Friday, right? Like, who doesn't love
Exactly. I can imagine myself as a kid and having that kind of a surprise for me.
that? Yeah.
It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
best thing that
Well,
could happen.
yeah, I don't ever remember as a kid being pulled out of school early. If anything, I was left later and just stayed a little time. So celebration. So my celebration this week is launching. Actually, there's been a few celebrations, but the big one is celebrating and kicking off the 30-day shred, which has been for me super exciting to just have that community again. And actually, I don't know what it is this time. Like this time, the energy is different, right? Like we're going into October, end of year. People still have some health goals to build on and to improve as they go towards the end of 2023 and to the start of 2024. And I'm so happy I get to do that with an amazing community. I know you're in my community this
Thank
this
you.
month.
Thank you for inviting me there, and it's a wonderful community.
Yeah, no, it's been great just to see the posts and what people are putting and the activities, right? So the one thing I'm all about saying yes, right? Say yes to the scary stuff, but say yes to movement, right? Like I think that to me is so important, right? Like when you can say yes to movement, when you can say yes, you're essentially saying yes to life, right? So
That's right.
this is, it's the one thing that's been a game changer for me over the last 2 years. Just moving 30 days, 30 minutes a day, right? Like that's it. 30 minutes a day, moving, walking, cutting the grass, cleaning the house, whatever that is, just move, right? Like we don't move enough, right? And there's research behind it that says we spend way too much time behind a screen and we don't spend enough time moving. So yeah, so happy to kick that off. And you know what's really cool? I was doing some research yesterday on how to build resilience. And one of the ways you build resilience is through exercise, through movement. So, Gunjan, I'd love to know from you, like, what are some of the things that you do? Because especially in today's world, right? Like, there's so many different things that are going on. Even in big tech, big organizations, massive layoffs over the last week and a bit.
Yeah.
There's things that are going on in and around the world, and I find that a lot of people are in a state of fear and a state of anxiety and stress.
Yeah.
So what's incredibly important is to be like, how do you build the resilience? How do you get to that place where you feel strong and in control again?
Mm.
So I'd love to know from you. So what are some of the things that you do? And what I'd like to dive into today is really building on, what do you do to build resilience? What do you do to really get into that place where you feel strong and powerful? And good morning, Felicia. I'd love to have you here.
Good morning, Felicia. So yeah, so See, it's only not just on the personal side that we have these challenges that we need resilience on the personal side, but when we look at things that are happening in the world and what is going on, even here in Toronto, I'm in real estate, and people talk, about real estate in every single social gathering. And right now, the hot topic is the interest rate, and we know what has happened to the housing in the last 1 year due to the interest rate. So I was studying the charts of last 100 years of real estate trends, and you see the market is resilient to it. That's
Hmm.
about it, right? Nothing lasts forever. We have gone through two world wars. We have gone through pandemic. We have gone through different stuff. And if you see the cycles, we've gone to 2008 slowdown. But if you look at the 100 years trend, we are trending upwards.
Hmm.
This is from the real estate market point of view, but I would like you to think also, like, look at kids growing up, look at when they start to walk. Like, have you seen ever a kid who is not able to make it,
Hmm.
stand and start walking? They'll fall, they'll try again, fall, try again, and every single kid who's attempting to learn to walk will walk. So it's not so. Resilience, in my opinion, is inbuilt in us. It's inbuilt, right? So we are not learning resilience. What we are learning is to unlearn the beliefs that we gather,
Hmm.
that what if this, what if the interest rate remains high forever, is the market going to crash? It will not crash. It is resilient. It will go. Look at the 100 years history. It will come back, right? So it
Yeah.
applies everywhere. Look at your friends. Go back to your school days and look at your friends, your relatives, your friends, whoever started their life in their 20s. Doesn't matter where they are in life today, but they'll be much better off. It's a natural progression growth that everybody has, and they might have temporary ups and downs. Everybody has those, but in a longer run, if you look at it in a bigger picture, we are all inbuilt resilient.
Yeah. No, 100%. And what I find that's really interesting is, especially with children, right? Like we don't give them a choice, right? We create
Mhm.
an environment where we continue to support them. You fall, you stand up. You
Yeah,
fall, you stand up. There's none of this, we don't coddle them. We're like, okay, you got to learn how to walk. You got to, it's not even a choice, right?
yeah,
So, it's interesting that, if we took that approach, we applied it to other things in life too, things would be so different, right?
yeah,
And when you don't have a choice and it becomes a must, like you just do it, right?
yeah.
So, so one of the things, as I was doing my research yesterday, what was really interesting, one of the things that came up is celebrating,
Mhm.
right? So, celebrating your wins and changing and creating a focus of things that are good in your life, right? Like how many times do we just focus on the negatives? You're right. When people talk about the real estate market, it's like, oh my gosh, nothing's selling. The interest rates are crazy. The market's going to crash. And I go, well, do you know when you lose money in real estate?
When you sell.
Yeah, exactly. When you buy high, you sell low,
Ex- yeah,
right? In a
yeah.
few months from now, everybody's going to forget, or not a few months, but in a few years from now, people are going to forget, oh, yeah, my house is worth this much more now. Okay.
Yeah.
On average, houses increase 3 to 5% yearly, right? Like that is, if you look at the long trend, maybe my numbers are wrong,
19,
Gunjan.
1977, the average house price in Toronto real estate board was 64,000. 2022 is 1.189 million.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Right.
Um,
And we have seen lots of ups and downs since, and that's just only since 1977. But if you go back to 1930s, it was less than $5,000.
Yeah, no, Gunjan, I think we just lost you. Your audio is
Oh,
it's I can't
really?
hear you anymore. I don't know what's going on, but maybe you
Oh,
want to disconnect and reconnect again.
okay, let me
Um,
try.
yeah, the what's been really interesting.
Are you able to hear me?
I still can't hear you. You're just coming in really muffled.
So, do you want me to leave the studio and come back?
Yeah, sorry, Gunjan. Don't worry about it. Just disconnect. Listen,
Okay.
this is technology for you. It happens.
Yeah,
Um,
let me try that.
10x technology tends to go haywire sometimes. There we go. He's going to be back. Anyways, we're going to continue to talk. You can hear him. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, okay. He's going to come back. Don't worry about it. It's going to be all good. So just building and talking about resilience, right? So one of the other things that I found is one of the ways to build your resilience, one of the ways to increase your, build up your mental stamina, your mental strength, is doing exercise movement. Gunjan, you're back.
Yeah, can you hear me? Is the audio okay now?
All right. Now I can't hear you. I'm sure. Just do a quick check. Hold on. Okay, we're having technical issues. Listen, this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
this
Can
is
you
live.
hear me, or is still an issue?
Let me try something on my end. Okay. Okay, Gunjan, you there?
Is it still an issue?
Gunjan, can I hear you? Can you say something?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so you can hear him, Felicia. Okay, this is going to be interesting. I can't hear you, but you can hear me, and Felicia can hear you. Okay, we'll just.
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
I'll try to read lips. Okay, so building on it. So listen, we're being tested on our resilience right now.
That is true.
You know what? It is on my end, but I can't disconnect. So I will. That's fine, Gunjan. We're good. So I'm gonna let you just share some other strategies and things that you do to build up your some of the things that you've incorporated into your life on a day-to-day to really strengthen your resilience.
So one of the things that you just mentioned right now is logging your wins or celebrating your wins. That has been a big thing for me. If you can't hear me, I'll also type it out. So that is one of the things, right? Celebrating my wins is something that I have is helping me, and having a daily routine, having a set routine in the morning, like just a small routine. I'm also typing out, John, so that you know. Are you getting my messages?
All right. So you're talking about routines. I love that. I'm just reading your list here.
This is resilience.
This is a test, right? Like
this is a
technology,
resilience.
I don't know. Sometimes things
Resilience.
go sideways.
Yeah.
But so you can hear me, so that's good. So at least you know what I'm saying, so we can keep resilience test. This is definitely building my resilience. Listen, it's you never know what's going to show up. So we have backups on top of backups, but I've tried my backups. They're still not working for me. That's okay. So one of the things in order to also build resilience that I've learned, and it actually came up in my research as well, is just taking some time to journal, right? Taking some time to write down your thoughts, taking some time to just get the things that are in your head out on paper. And there's something magical about taking pen and putting it to paper because it actually creates and disassociates you from certain feelings, right? So one of the things I've learned through my NLP class, through my NLP studies, neuro-linguistic programming, for those that are not familiar with it, is really creating and separating an emotion and a feeling from you physically. And one of the ways you do that is you take it and you write it down. You take it, you externalize it, because it allows you to give yourself a different perspective on that. And when you have a different perspective, what ends up happening is you start to see it differently. Right? When you write it down on paper, it's like, oh, okay, maybe that's not as bad as I think it is. Right? And how many times have you said to yourself, when you go through a situation, you go through something difficult, if you're able to just write it down, then you can deal with it. And this is why I love the power of journaling, right? The other thing that came up, and actually, I think you do some of this, Gunjan, is mindfulness. Do you do I think meditation is part of what you incorporate into your practice, right?
That's correct. That's correct, John. It's one of my daily routine.
It's part of your daily routine. I love that. Yes, I'm reading his lips. So we are working off the magic of lip reading.
Yeah.
Listen, it's just one of those things. It happens.
So,
So meditate. So explain it to us a little bit more. So what does that look like specifically for you? Is it like 5 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? Because some people get the impression that meditation needs to be hours and hours and hours on end to get enlightenment. But what do you do when it comes to your meditation?
So I just close my eyes and reflect in the morning before I start journaling. So the thoughts that come up on and surface my mind, I journal on that.
I love it. So closing your eyes and just reflecting, closing your eyes, taking a second. One of the things I learned from Damon John, who's the founder of FUBU, is, one of the things that he does, and, yeah, take those thoughts, externalize them, things that come up to the surface, and then
Right.
journal on that. That's beautiful.
And,
It's such
and
a
when you
great
start
routine.
writing, when you start writing that out, you won't believe the kind of thoughts you'll come. It's like golden nuggets. You will produce golden nuggets.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I think I was saying, you're saying, yes, practicing mindfulness is very effective. Yeah, no, absolutely, Felicia. And when you take a moment and you just work through that, um, it does. Some of the best ideas or some of the, it's interesting because the universe will always bring you what you need, right? The universe, God, whatever you want to call it. Um, when you get that spark, you get that moment, and you take action on it. There's this woman that there's a community I'm a part of. It's called the Entrepreneur Nation, and one of the things that they do, the lady who founded it, Lucy, her story is, this vision of bringing community together came through vision, through a thought, and from that she launched into what is now Canada-wide, this Entrepreneur Nation. And
Wow.
it's amazing, when you take a thought, when you take an idea, and you work with it. When we talk about saying yes to the unknown, saying yes to, oh man, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, and continuing to move forward. Gunjan, it's like when you said yes to being on the Speaker Slam stage this year. Think about, like, from a resilience perspective, doing something that scares you. Like, we talk about growth, personal development, and growth. But getting up on that stage, like, that must have shifted things for you.
Yes. And you remember you and I did Tony Robbins UPW last year. My courage came from the fire walk that we did together. You remember when you said yes to the fire walk? So it's say yes, say yes, say yes. And we walked through the fire with Tony Robbins. And that is a metaphor, right? So
Yeah. No, I'm seeing some of your comments. Your fire walk and saying yes to being on stage.
yeah,
Listen,
so
I
so
know
it's not like walking on the fire, but it's a
we even
metaphor.
have we had the conversation before you made the decision to go. Right? I don't know if you remember that, but we had that conversation. Like, just I'm gonna get up on stage. What's my story? Like, and your story was incredible, and it gave, what I loved about being there that night is seeing it in person. Like, there's nothing like supporting people live, right? Like, it's one of the things I'm incredibly passionate about being on stage, like seeing and being there and supporting them physically.
Thank you for being
And
there.
there was just a different energy that showed up. Like, it was just like, not just you, but the whole room lit up,
Yeah.
right? And when you wrapped up and you finished at the end, that the applause is like, wow, you just did that.
Yeah,
You
it
did
was,
something like just amazing.
yeah, for me, it was a big deal because I was not a professional speaker, and taking that courage and putting myself out there was a big thing. I know
All
you
right.
can hear me, so
Okay.
you're
Yes.
trying to
Yes.
lip read and you
Yes.
don't know what I'm saying, but
Wow. Okay. One other thing I wanted to talk about when it came to resilience, because I've been doing the research, and actually I want to be putting a LinkedIn post together on this, so it's going to be coming out later today. But really taking the time, and this is one of the things I know we both do, is just taking a moment to express gratitude. The gratitude is just one of those things that we incorporate into our day to day. And it's the one thing, again, along with celebrations, it also helps us see the world differently. And changing your lens and focus on the world is just by doing a few things, right? You take a moment to celebrate, you take a moment to express some gratitude, um, and you put some time into your body, into your fitness. You take time to really take care of this temple that we have. It's the only vehicle that we're going to have up until the end of our lives. So you might as well take care of it, right? So, Gunjan, I can't believe we're at 20 minutes already. But any final thoughts that you want to leave with people today?
I would like people to remember this kids analogy, right? How kids do the natural ability to for resilience. We fall, we stand up again and walk. That's what kids do. Just remember that whenever you're in the times of difficulty or you fall off track and things like that, we have natural ability in us of resilience. We're naturally built that way. We are wired that way. We just have to unlearn the things that society covers on us, the thought limiting beliefs. That's my final thoughts on it, John.
Yeah, no, excellent. Thank you for that. So, and actually, I wanted to just express my gratitude to having you as a co-host on the show over the last 3 weeks. It's been amazing having you here and just really getting your perspective, sharing your comments. What I'm going to invite people to do, if you haven't done so already, connect with Gunjan either on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever your favorite social media platform is, and get to he's got some great content. He's got some great information. If you want to learn more about real estate, you want to learn more about interest rates and what's happening in the market. If you want to have a good, and what I love, Gunjan, is you just have an optimistic approach to all of this stuff. So you see it differently, and there's where there's crisis, there's opportunity, right? And I know you see the world from that lens, from an opportunity perspective. So there's opportunity for you as well. So I'm going to invite you to connect with Gunjan. Make sure you have him and follow him and really become part of his community as well. All right, so that wraps up this episode of the Say Yes Movement podcast. Wishing you all a great one. And remember, when you shift your mindset, you shift your life. And call to action, take a moment, express some gratitude, and make sure you celebrate your wins this week. All right, everybody, wishing you all a great one. Talk to you all later. Take care.
Thank you, John. Thanks, everybody.